guess what? I'm back again this week, and nothing much has changed actually. Like last time, I had a little bit of trouble coming up with what to do, but I did think of something yesterday that we can do, so we're going to do that. We will be making a Papercraft Chibi. I did a bit of searching around and I found one of me actually. Yes, this is me, and we will be making this today. So, I finally got the camera set up. I will show you the supplies you need. So, glue, X-Acto knife, kitchen knife, we use the flat edge, not the sharp part, and a ruler. I believe that is all I need. It's really simple. Before you start cutting, take your ruler and the flat edge of the knife. I already did this step by the way, but I'll show you how to do it. You line up the ruler to the line, use the flat edge, and press down. You don't have to press down too hard, depending on how sharp it is. And then you just draw a line to make an indentation so that it's easier to fold over. You do all the dotted lines that you see. After you have marked all the lines that you need to, you take your knife and begin cutting. Before you start cutting, make sure you have a protected surface below it, because you don't want to put marks in your desk. I normally just start at this tip and then just go around. Do be careful not to cut your finger. If you do, it is not my fault. One thing I forgot to mention is that these crafts take about an hour to make. So if you have like 20 minutes before you're going to do something, do not start it. You want to stay in one place and do the entire craft in one sitting. Otherwise you could lose like little pieces. Another thing that I forgot to mention is you have to cut the line right here. You could use a ruler while cutting this out, but you don't have to. It does help for this section, so I think I will, just to show you. So you put it up to the line, find the edge, and this is tricky because you have to press your blade against the ruler, or else sometimes it just like goes out sideways and cuts wrong. I've had that happen. It is really frustrating, which is usually why I just cut freehand. And there you go. Yay, my face is now cut out. So next thing you do is fold in all the creases that you made. Oh, and if any of you are wondering, it's not cardstock or construction paper, it's just normal paper. Okay, now that we're done folding all these, we are going to cut out the bangs, because the bangs are actually glued on the front here. You don't want to glue all these together and forget about the bangs. I almost did that once and it was disastrous. And also, if you want your head to like look more 3D and pop out, just slightly bend it into shape. Just don't crease it, just like slightly bend. You just want it so it's a little round. It helps it look a little better. Now we will cut out the bangs. Cut here. Do not cut here. And then you do the same with this. So before we do anything else, we're going to take our glue. Then the knife comes in again. You put a little bit on the very edge, not very much at all. See, that's like hardly anything. And then you spread it thinly on the edges. And again, this is just an order I use. You don't have to do it this way. You can do it however you want. I just find this easier to work with. And then you fold these in to give the hair a little 3D look. And you can just shape the hair however you want. Anytime you put on the glue, put it on as thin as possible. Alright, so moving on to the head. This one, I just put the glue on the lower section. And I will spread this out. just the grey section. Spread it out thinly with the knife. There. Now you have the back of my head. And if you get a little bit of glue on the head, it's fine. Just let it dry and you can gently scrape it off later with your nail. Just the neck part is next. Do not move on to this part yet. You must attach the bangs before you try to do it, or else it will be a disaster. Here's the basic head shape. This part will just fold in there. Line up all the tabs to the other white tabs. Depending on the design, sometimes this won't be very easy, other times it will. Carefully press down. Because the glue is so thin, it only takes a few seconds to dry. Probably is dry right now, but we're just going to cut out this. So we will set these aside for later. We still have that to cut out. But back to the head. This part is probably the most challenging. Actually, yes, it is the most challenging to do. So go as slow as possible. Put glue only on the two lower tabs and carefully spread it out. Fold them in and glue them. You can fit your finger in there. I have small fingers, so it's not that big of a deal. You might have to put them in both at the same time. While they're drying, put glue around the rest. You will get your hands gluey, so sorry about that. You want to push both the side pieces in at the same time, and while you're pushing it forward, make sure all the tabs get underneath. If you get dents in it, usually they're not too hard to fix, so don't worry about it. Push all of them in carefully. Take your time. And if it gets too far in, you can take your knife and gently push it up a little bit. And most often you do have to press down on the edges of the top so that it will go down. There's a small white seam on this one, but I don't mind because it's not that noticeable. That was rather easy actually. I've run into many situations where it's a lot harder than that. But you don't want to play with it too much while it's drying. Aren't I cute? So we have the head complete. Now we move on to the body. Let's start with the legs. Do like you did before and fold in all the creased areas. Fold it into a small rectangle. So now that you have your legs in the basic shape, you want to glue these down. And this is no specific order again. Because I have the long one in the middle, I'll just put glue on that. Fold the sides in. I'm aware that this is not the correct way to do it, but this is the way I do it. Again, folding in the creases. Now you put small glue on just the triangles. Never glue the entire project because I found that the glue dries too fast. The arms come last. Now you put glue along the sides of the pants, only the sides. You don't put it on the top because that won't touch anything. You determine which side is going to be the front and which is the back. Sometimes there's like special designs on the front and back, but on this one there's not. just stick it in. It won't always stand up by itself. So now, this part you have to be kind of careful. Folding the creases yet again. So if this is your first time doing it, I recommend getting the guidelines so you know where to crease. And once you figure it out, then it won't be hard. And with the arms, occasionally people cut them on the black line in the center of the white, but I figured out you don't have to do that because the white doesn't show if you put it on correctly. Bend the arms down so they don't fly out to the side. And there's a little body. Before I forget, I'm going to cut out the ring. Voila. I have a paper ring now. I have a ring, a head, and a body. Obviously, if you put the head on, it might stand up, but it will probably fall over. We will do that just to see if it will stand up, because if it will, I might not need to do the next step. And be sure to put glue on the body, on the neck part, not the head. Most people put the body directly in the center, but I found that it doesn't always work that way. So I stand it up, and I just guess. There. So it does stand up, but it is very wobbly, so I will do the next step, which is to make the stand. I'll show you how to do that. It's really simple. To make sure this guy doesn't fall over, I will set him upside down. For this, you just kind of guess how big the stand is. I make small stands because I have so many. I need to fit them all on one place. And if the stands are huge, like this big, I can't fit very many. So I try to fit them as small as possible. And now you just cut. And this is the part where you need to tilt your blade inward just slightly so that, oops, and careful not to cut the ruler. And you tilt it inward because if you don't, it will start cutting sideways and you don't want that. They don't have to be exact, it's just a stand, no one cares that much. You might use this again if there's enough space. You fold it into the shape you want it to be. That's good. And then you glue it so that it won't come undone. Okay, so that's that one, and then you fold it over and keep folding it over until you get to the end. You could stop right there, even though it is kind of flimsy and thin, and you could just make that your stand, but I like it feeling a little more strong, so I go ahead and find another place. So, now you have a stand. Now you take your little figure and you guess where he's going to be standing. I've done this so many times, I know the size of the feet. So you just basically draw that with glue. So you have to stick them on. And wait for a few seconds. And carefully turn them upside down, stick them on. And then they will just sit like this, upside down, wherever you want them to, while the stand dries. Then you just clean off all your tools, throw this away, I don't know, and then you are done. So now you know how to make a little chibi figure of me, and that pattern was not mine. I used it from, I forget the name, someone at DeviantArt. So next week I need ideas, so if you have any ideas, please tell me. I will almost do anything. Well, it doesn't look like Sebastian is coming home anytime soon, so I will be back next week again. Farewell until next time.